Standard Chartered reaching a deal with New York regulators just over an hour ago on allegations it hid billions in illegal deals with Iran. The bank will now pay a civil penalty of $340 million. This decision, however, ruffling feathers in some corners of the legal community.
And we're going to ruffle some of those right now with attorney Andrew Stoltmann, who says this is not a good deal at all for the public. He says the company should be prosecuted for putting national security at risk. But Keith Ruette's Brian Gardner supports this settlement. And Andrew, I mean, give us the problem you have with this settlement right now. You don't think it goes nearly far enough, right?
No, I mean, it's a classic slap on the wrist sort of penalty. You're talking about a firm that earned $6.78 billion in profits last year, paid a $340 million fine for really what are extraordinarily serious allegations. We're not
What should it have been?
It should have been a criminal indictment. If you want to clean up the securities industry, and we know there have been so many problems from the LIBOR scandal to a lot of others.
So kill the firm. A criminal indictment means kill the firm.
Absolutely. And if you kill that firm, you will never have this sort of problem again. Look what happened to Arthur Andersen after Arthur Andersen got indicted for shredding documents. We haven't seen any more accounting firms shred documents since then. It works.
Brian, what's wrong with all this?
That's great. Let's put the firm out of business and throw thousands, hundreds of innocent employees who had nothing to do with this. Let's throw them out of work.
But don't do the crime. You can't do the time.
We will feel great about this for all of 30 seconds. And when the sugar rush wears off, we will realize that it was totally counterproductive.
You don't think an example needs to be made?
Prosecuting individuals is one thing. Prosecuting an institution is another. It has huge collateral damage. It is counterproductive.
We have an apologist for the securities industry, and this is the reason why we have these problems
I will wear that proudly,
decade.
Andrew. That's a ridiculous statement, but it's just a silly statement.
All right, well, let's stick to the substance here. Let's stick to the substance. I mean, does the penalty fit the crime in this case? Brian, I mean, it is a pretty severe charge. The charge is that this bank laundered money for the Iranian government for 10 years, and they're paying a penalty of $340 million.
It's a very serious charge. First of all, the penalty is not finished yet. This is just the settlement with the New York regulator. It is not a settlement with the federal regulators. So there is more to come. It will be larger. So I think from what we know so far, probably it does fit the crime. Keep in mind, the complaint by the New York regulator only had one complaint about violating the federal anti-money laundering statute. The rest of the complaint was really about paperwork violations in New York. And the New York complaint never stipulated or specified, I should say, the actual dollar amount that the bank profited from the transactions. They talked about the assets that were traded. They talk about millions, but unspecified millions. So of profit.
Are you hoping now that the Justice Department is tougher on them and does something more onerous?
I would love to see it, but
do you think it's going to happen?
No, absolutely not. The Department of Justice has a horrible track record when it comes to criminally indicting firms. And if you want to know why the securities industry has the credibility of O.J. Simpson, it's because they act like this. They do it with impunity. We've seen it with the LIBOR scandal. We've seen it with brokerage firms almost melting down the global worldwide economy in 2008, and nobody has to pay a price other than a monetary price. It's a joke, and that's why we're the laughing stock of the world in terms of our financial markets.
The LIBOR scandal is a European problem. It is not a U.S. problem.
Then how come U.S. banks are being investigated?
There are 3 banks of the 16 in the LIBOR panel. This is a European problem. It's silly to lump LIBOR into this.
But take a look at what the brokerage firms and banks did in 2008. U.S. banks and U.S. brokerage firms almost melting down the worldwide economy. They got away with a slap on the wrist.
We have breaking news. Sorry.
Thanks, guys.